happened in Sri Lanka in the early parts of this decade was that we also tried to repeal Section 365A, which is basically the same as 377 that criminalizes all acts against the order of nature, right? And
anything that's not peno-vaginal strictly.
Sex, basically, right? And so that means lots of heterosexual people who engage in non-peno-vaginal sex are also unnatural beings. So, I mean, no one brings that up naturally. But what happened was that in that law, it specifically stated that men who engage in this activity. So once it was taken to the parliament, instead of repealing the law, what they did was like, wait a minute, there's gender discrimination here. It mentions nothing about women. So now let's criminalize both men and women. And that's what happened. You know, I mean, what a distorted idea of what equality is. Like, double oppression is equality in Sri Lanka, at least.
Does Sri Lanka have a gay pride?
We just had during their Gay Pride week, we also had a Gay Pride week, but we still can't go out into the streets and have a march. We are not at that level yet. It's a private kind of kite festival, party, film festival. You kind of invites only people who know about it. We won't get the media in there unless in very kind of negotiated circumstances. So it's still fragile. It's not as progressive in a sense as India is. But I'm hoping if Supreme Court approves it, that will be a legal precedent. Actually, it was so amazing. My friends from India called, and we got to know that 377 had been read down. And we were having the film festival at that time. And we were like celebrating. I felt like it was our victory. It was like, I think it swept across the whole sub-region. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
You have a gay pride.
Yeah, we have gay pride in several cities, and it's in fact growing. Like it started off in Calcutta, which is the city that I'm coming from, and way back in 1999, which was when it was being held for the first time in India, and then subsequently every year since 2003. And now we have Delhi, we have Bangalore, we have Bombay, we have Bhubaneswar. It's even coming up in the smaller towns and smaller cities. We consider ourselves as a human rights group that deals with sexualities rather than as a sexuality rights group which deals with human rights.
Exactly.
I think, just to turn around and play around with the phrase. And because that's a very important decision that we had to take, because in terms of seeing who we are, and because we need allies in our fight, in our movement, because I think, and one of our strongest allies are the women's movement. And as a transgender group operating in the city, battling many forces, what happens is the strongest movement that we could come and sort of take the support of is the women's movement, which has been organized over the past 5 decades or if not more, and very strong, and which is also interesting because it also has a lesbian voice, right? It also has lesbian groups which are part of the women's movement. So I think that's a very strong connection we derive from.
The last question is, what do you want to learn during this period?
Yesterday, even at a cafe before the conference began, with some South American participants, and I was like, wow, what different strategies they use, and I think that's what can come out of this. And also, in a sense, I feel very energized just being here. I walked into the party yesterday and I was like, feel the queer vibes. I'm home, kind of thing. I mean, it really boosts up your confidence, and I can go home really energized.
That's right.
Cool.
Very good.
So you're going to go to the program now because they really need you to be there.
All right, sure.
So you're going to get more energy there.
Great.
So I'll show you now the meditation room if you want. Okay. So we have set a meditation and religious room for anybody who needs to pray and needs to serve and anonymous. So we're trying to be inclusive for every different belief and religion. So people can come here and have their prayer or their space for meditating. It's quiet.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in the joke box.
Yeah.
Can you open it?
Yeah, to help you, I will open this. Let's go.
Al-Rahal. Maybe you can say that yourself.
Rahahle.
And you're from Jordany?
Yep, I'm from Jordan.
Right. So how is it for you to be in a Western country?
Well, it's awesome. It's a great experience, but to be honest, it's not that much of a difference. Really?
Explain, because Jordany would seem very different than Holland, specifically considering gay visibility.
Well, no, actually no. We have a street in the capital in Amman. It's called Rainbow Street, and it's a gay street. And it has a gay cafe, and it had a gay bar, but it closed because the guy went bankrupt. But it did exist, and lots of gay people go there every week, and there's no problem at all, and they're visible.
But you know, we have in Amsterdam also several locations in gay streets. But some gay bashes, they know also the gay streets, and sometimes they wait on the corners and to follow gays and beat them up on the Leidse Square, for instance. Do you have the same problems, or aggression doesn't occur?
Well, I didn't really hear of any aggression that happened against the gay people, and I don't think that anyone of the public has carried anything like that yet. But I believe that exists, but the people that it exists, that happens with them, they don't have the courage to show it, because sometimes cooperation from the police might not be so positive, and also from hospitals, because you know, some people can be really homophobic to the point that they could say, go to another hospital. We don't want you here.
I remember that from like back in the 80s that it happened to a black kid. That a taxi driver refused to take him along. You know, Kevin Duinmeier, because he was black.
Yeah, and it happens to some gay people sometimes.
But how do they see that you're gay, or because you're beaten up in a gay area, or?
Look.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like, oh, or
Is it that small? Is it like that kind of a symbol that?
well, no, I actually wear it to show that I'm gay, so I don't have a problem.
You also wear it in Jordany.
Yeah. I have no problem at all, and I'm pretty much out to everyone I know.
So how did your parents react? Because that's what all the kids ask in Holland. Like, your father, how did he react?
Well, my father, he doesn't really care about those kind of things. He's more interested in your scientific degree and whatever you study at university and that kind of thing. And he's like, whatever you do in your free time, it's your own business. I don't care about it.
Okay.
But you have also a gay magazine. But
Yeah.
all the problems that occur, for instance, also these victims who are not helped in the hospital, do you put that in your magazine, or doesn't? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, opposite to the dark side of what might happen in hospitals and police stations and so on, there's the other side that the government actually cooperates with us. For example, the National AIDS campaign, like 10 or 15 years ago, they didn't actually recognize gay existence, and it could be transferred through gay, unsafe sex and so on. But in the past year and a half or so, we actually approached them, and we started working with the National AIDS program, and it's really working out really good. Yeah.
But what about the lesbians? Because we don't really have that big of a problem with HIV. Do lesbians subscribe to your magazine? Do you talk about lesbian issues? Do lesbians work there?
Yeah, we have writers from the both genders, and they're mainly under the age of 25, so it's more of a teen magazine.
How could I find a lesbian girl in Jordany?
Well, mainly you have to go to Rainbow Street.
Okay, they
Because
also go to the gay street.
yeah, it's a gay street as in homosexual in general. It's not only for males.
But there's special bars for lesbians, or is mixed everywhere?
A special bar? No, they also come to the gay bars, but they don't really. They have their own private parties at their homes and so on.
But are you guys Muslims or?
I'm Christian. I'm Orthodox. But the majority of people in Jordan are Muslim, about 85%, and 12% to 13% Christians, and the rest are unknown.
And there's no protest against the gay street and the Rainbow Street.